Top Hill Recording Podcast, episode 163. Our guest tonight, Bernhard.
Sitting down in Charleston, waiting on my stars to change. If I could take back those letters, yours would be the one that I'd save. You were the only soul who could see me on this stage. What would you say? What would you say? Working through the summer without a single lead. There's a tip jar in my show, but you know that I would do it for free. Rent due next week and bank account reads 53. What would you see? What would you see? You'd see fire in my eye, dancing in the moonlight, whiskey flowing, singing night after night. You'd see I'm walking a fine line, but it's about time. It's about time. Look into the crowd, there's a ghost that's staring back at me. I wanna be a good man, but then again, I don't know what that means. Cause the songs I was told to hate get the people on their feet. What would you see? What would you see? You'd see fire in my eye, dancing in the moonlight, whiskey flowing, singing night after night. You'd see I'm walking a fine line, but it's about time. It's about time. Into that goes, my loss is your game. Into that goes, my heart is your game. Into that goes, my loss is your game, but I know your name. I know your name. You see fire in my eye, dancing in the moonlight, whiskey flowing, singing night after night. You see I'm walking a fine line, but it's about time. It's about time. It's about time. It's about time.
Nice.
Thank you guys.
All right, man. So, welcome to Top Hill Recording Podcast.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Dude.
Honestly, it's an honor to be here.
No doubt when you got here and Dusty answered the door, were you surprised?
I was very surprised. He was the last person I expected to be here, but I should have known, honestly.
Yeah, man. So I thought about that because you guys were like, hey, Dusty.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. So
We met Portal. It was last summer, I think, right,
Yeah.
when you played with Kevin.
Yeah, I was playing some rhythm guitar for Kevin Niehoff, another local artist.
right on.
Which I didn't put that together until 20 minutes ago.
Oh. Worked out.
Yeah.
All right, man. So check it out. We're finishing off the old foes going down. Already gone down tonight, and it tastes amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
We're doing something we don't normally do on the rocks. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. Thank you.
I love that lineup. I want it. Well, first, what's that song called? Fire?
Yeah, so the name of the song is called, it's Fine Line.
Fine Line. Cool. I really like the I want to be a good man, but I don't know what that means. It seems like is that what that line was?
It is.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah, like a young, troubled adolescent or whatever, like just young man, like not really figured out all those things. Yeah, that hits home.
Yeah, no, I was raised very religious, and I still am religious. And trying to navigate like where you fit in like the world while being raised a certain way it's an interesting process. So that song kind of explores that in a lot of ways.
Right on.
Well, and you speak to that a lot in your song. All songs really have some flavor of religion or talking to God or something. In the first few that I listened to anyway, I thought, it makes sense now that you say that because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of, let's go back, man. We always like to ask when, how did you come to music, and when did you know it was going to be a super important thing in your life?
Yeah, so the first song I ever remember like hearing and like it registering in my head was "Caroline in My Mind" by James Taylor, which is still one of my favorite songs even now.
Nice.
And I was just always attracted to like the singer-songwriter type of music. Now my parents were like kind of newly religious, like when I was a kid, or they weren't newly religious, but they were newly Catholic. I was I was raised Catholic. And so I don't think they knew exactly what to expose us to growing up. So it took me a little while to kind of get the full scope of kind of what was out there. So I kind of started out like really just enjoying any singer-songwriter I could listen to. And I was always like, I wanted to do that. And then I wanted to be in a band for a little while. But then I did it for like a short amount of time, and it really wasn't for me. So I just kind of stuck to like the singer-songwriter type of thing. But it was just always like something I wanted to do.
Huh.
When I saw someone on TV that was playing guitar, like the classic scenarios like the Marty McFly, like watching Back to the Future and seeing that and wanting to be him.
Yeah. Very influential moment in cinema history.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude.
But yeah, I just always put myself in those shoes whenever I saw it. So I just knew it was something I wanted to do.
Always guitar?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There was a stint I wanted to play drums.
Okay.
But yeah, it was mostly guitar.
Nice, man. So James Taylor kind of was the first thing that caught you here. And I'm assuming that was when you were young.
I was very young, yeah.
So when, what were you listening to as you kind of got a little bit older? And when did you start playing guitar?
Yeah, it's funny. So like probably right after that, I listened to like so much like Christian radio, which like as you guys probably know is either really good or it's like really bad. Yeah. So it's like there's not a lot in between. But I just started getting really into like rock, like kind of punk rock, and there were a couple of Christian like rock bands that I liked that are I to be honest with you, like to be fully transparent, I still like love their music. It's like Reliant K and this other band called Hawk Nelson. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but yeah, and then kind of as I like got older, I started getting into more like I guess you could say like secular music, which like for me came on the radio. So I was like probably when I hit 13 or 14, I just went straight into like pop radio, which is an interesting place to kind of like break that wall between you and music. It was like 2012 pop radio. It was a interesting time to like get into that.
It makes sense though because of the way that most Christian pop rock is. It kind of leans towards pop radio. I grew up listening to DC Talk and Turn 3 and Stephen Curtis Chapman as a guitar player, singer, songwriter, and a ton of people like that because I grew up in church too. So that was definitely one of the things. I like pop music still to this day. I love all music. So, I mean, but I could write a freaking pop hook just because they're so fun.
Yeah.
They're easy, they're fun, and they're catchy for a reason, But it makes sense to me that you leaned into pop music even in 2012. What was going on in 2012?
Like in my life or in
music? In music.
Oh my god. Let me think. So I just remember, this is super off the wall and random, but I just remember like listening to Jason Derulo and just like relating to him so much, which is so odd. But I was just like, yeah, like I like what he's doing. That's kind of like when Ed Sheeran was starting to like get big. So it's kind of like all these solo acts that I was like, I could kind of put myself in their shoes like a little bit. But yeah, I remember listening to Ed Sheeran and actually John Mayer about the same time.
Okay.
And like really hooking on to both of them. And that's really what like kind of crystallized everything for me. I was like, I want to be like them. Like I want to be like one of these like rare singer-songwriters that kind of live in this like pop like genre. You know what I mean?
That is a very, very fun place to land for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you can do it right.
Yeah, that's I like that you brought up Derulo. I mean, when I found out that he's one of those people that has a song, what is it, "Want You to Want Me," and it's like the same title as like already a very famous Cheap Trick song, and I was like, all right, I gotta hear what this is because I was just looking at like the pop charts one time or whatever, and stumbled across him just on a random Spotify playlist or whatever. But he's great. He's awesome, man. killer voice.
That really shows the like range of music that I listened to at that time. I was like going all over the place. So
Well, he sucks at that game that Jimmy Fallon hosts. Oh man, he was
Damn,
terrible.
really?
Him and what
is
is
that the
it?
lip sync battle or something different?
Something like that.
When
It's
they do
some-
like sing Britney Spears song in the style of Frank
Yes.
Sinatra kind of stuff. I love
Yes,
that.
yes.
Man, that's crazy too. 'Cause
Well,
I'm
he did
pretty
good.
sure most of that's pre-rehearsed.
He
and stuff.
did good at that part, but like some of the other stuff where you had to know the song, he was all right.
Yeah,
But no, I'm being a hater. It was great.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. So, how old were you when you started playing guitar?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was, I think it was like right when I turned 13. I kind of did it because all of my siblings had taken music lessons, and I think one of them took to it. My older brother took to it, and the other ones didn't at all. And by the time it got to me, so I was the youngest of 4 at the time. Now I have a little brother, but at the time I was the youngest of 4. And I think my parents were just like, yeah, we like don't, that didn't work for them, so it might not really work for you. So it was like, it was a great opportunity for me to be like, to make something my own, because it wasn't like forced on me by like a parent, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So it was the perfect like time for me to like find something and just make it my own. So I just started, I went to like a couple guitar lessons, but then the guitar teacher like stopped showing up. So that's always a great thing. And then I just started learning on YouTube, which is way more fun anyways, because you can just learn what you want to learn.
Anything.
Learn as
Yeah.
fast. as slow.
Everything's there. You can slow down the videos. Yeah, it's a great. YouTube's crazy.
It is crazy, dude. The access to be able to teach yourself something. Well, not teach yourself, just sit and learn. If you can take information in like that, you can learn at your own pace. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
Yeah, so I have 2 sisters and I have one older brother and one younger brother.
Okay, so there's 5 of you.
Yeah.
Whew. Dude, I got 2 kids that are still at home. I got 3 total. 2 that are still at home. We just went on vacation, halfway across the country in an RV.
Griswold style.
Could you imagine 7 of you rolling deep, dude?
That'd be a big
7
motorhome.
deep. You'd have, your parents were saints.
Yeah.
Your parents.
That's patience, man.
No, absolutely. It was definitely pretty hard on him, but yeah, God bless him.
That's crazy. Man, I'm sorry. I'm stuck on 5 kids right now.
You did it.
5 kids. My mom homeschooled all of us pretty much, which is another
What?
amazing
Wow.
feat. Yeah.
Wow.
She loved you all.
Every minute of the day. Man,
Every
that's
minute
commitment, man.
of
Wow.
the day.
Wow.
Oh my
What's
gosh.
your mom's name?
Becky.
Cheers, Becky.
Cheers,
Here's
Saint Becky.
Bernhard.
Here's to you.
Cheers, man.
So, when did you start writing?
Yeah, so it was kind of always what I wanted to do. I think I wrote my first like really bad song that I recorded, and I still have. So, like, I have the first song I ever recorded. I'm never gonna show it to anybody. It's like tragically bad. But yeah, I wrote it when I was, I think, 16.
It starts Jason Derulo.
I thought that was a thing, you know.
Hey man, it's a genius plug for yourself.
Yeah, I wrote my first song when I was 16. It was about my then girlfriend, and it was like, I think I got all of the cliches out of the way. So moving forward, I didn't have to hit anymore because I hit them all in that song.
Yeah. Right on. Oh, man.
Oh, dude, songwriting. So how often do you write?
Yeah, so I go through kind of stints. I just moved out of my parents' house and I live alone. So I'm writing like every day because it's
Great.
kind of like something I can do. I always do when I'm by myself pretty much. It's always when like an idea comes or I feel like comfortable when no one can like kind of hear the ideas that come out, you know what I mean? But I would say like prior to me living alone, I would just write whenever it was like really quiet. I knew no one could hear me. It was probably like every time that situation happened is what I would do.
And do you write with intent? Do you make it a point now that you do have the space to sit down and write, or is it something that, because you have so much quiet around you, you can stop and go, oh, I just had this line. I'm going to follow this real quick.
Yeah, so I'm constantly kind of like writing down ideas I think are good, but they only rarely make it into the songs that I'm writing. A lot of it's like very spur of the moment, but I'm actually reading a book right now called, I believe it's called The Act of Creativity. It's by Rick Rubin.
Oh yeah,
it, like just came out.
Been listening to it on tape.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
But I was kind of doing kind of like what he recommended, which was having like an hour or a set period of time where you can just like let your mind like do what it wants to do. You can't judge it. You just gotta, it's like a very creative time, no judgment, which is something I struggled with. Yeah. So it's something I was like, so I kind of have to like compartmentalize these times. So I would say probably for like 45 minutes a day, it's just creative. Just get it, just like throwing at the wall and seeing what sticks. You know what I mean?
I love that. I want to read that book.
It's cool.
Sounds awesome.
Have you finished it, or
I'm about halfway through?
Yeah, I think that's about where I am too. And I brought this up at the group at the Monarch the other day with the thing. He mentioned the part about John Lennon talking about always see it through. It's better to have like it's better to have a full rough opposed to like a polished portion, whatnot. Which that's I think we have that in common too. Which I know a lot of songwriters do. Is just like finishing it. Like you can come up with the hook or maybe first verse or whatnot, but actually like getting it all laid out, like that's yeah.
I have a question for you. What's like a finish? What would you say is like a finish? Like before you can move on, because a lot of times for me, I'll have a verse and a chorus, and that takes all my energy. I'm like, okay, I can just like write another verse later. If it's a good idea and I want to go back to it, what do you think about that? Or you think you should just do it all the way through?
Man,
kind of depends.
Yeah, it would depend on the song, but I would say at least get figure out the overall structure all the way through, whether there's going to be like verse chorus bridge or solo or another verse, whatever. But like typically with me, it's like getting the overall chord progression and structure until the end, and then kind of chip away from there. But that's when I actually finish them. There's a million, or it's like same. It's like I got a verse, got a chorus. I'm just gonna repeat the chorus. So I got that part done. So we just got to figure out a verse, and then so yeah, it can be tricky.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing though that I picked up from that book is the idea that like you don't have to learn everything. Everyone kind of has, because we were listening to music all the time, so we have like a subconscious like meter for if something's good or not. So instead of kind of following all of these rules, it's kind of, or like trying to learn all of these rules, just kind of trusting like your gut, because you've listened to the Beatles a billion times, so you know what it sounds like when something is like well written. And that's what's interesting about like listeners who have never even listened to music before. They can be like, oh, I don't know like what's good and what's not good. They do, they just don't really know it, you know what I mean? So I love to trust that now, is like just trust your gut, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. And so Neil and our friend Lee and Spencer are on like a group message on Instagram. We send things all the time, but Lee sent one the other day. He was one of the guys in the Eagles that lived above Jackson Brown. Have you seen that?
Glenn Fry lived below Jackson Brown.
Did you see that clip?
Yeah.
And so, basically, like he said, he would hear his Jackson Brown's teapot go off. He'd play the piano for 20 minutes or so, and he'd hear him work out a verse. He'd take a break, and then he would kind of hear teapot go off again, but he would like hammer out a song until it was almost like completely done and see it through. And he was like, I learned how to write songs that way. It's kind of what you're talking about. I think I don't consider myself much of a songwriter, but I get stuck too with verse chorus and like just hang it up and like never come back to it. But that whole seeing it through the structure thing is interesting to like.
And that's when there was some way he followed that with saying like how one of his struggles with writing was he wasn't always inspired and this, that, and the other. And so when he was living below Jackson, he was like, okay, this isn't just going to take inspiration. It's going to take elbow grease.
He said
just
that.
getting in and doing it. And so true.
Yeah. Which is part of the, reason that you want other people to kind of force your hand, make you get over the finish line on stuff like that, because, accountability in songwriting and in music in general is very nice.
Yeah,
it's very nice, especially like I've been doing this for a minute. You've been doing this for a minute. Brent's been writing forever. We've all been in it, and in the last few years, I know Brent and I started a songwriting group where we started doing that collaboration a little bit for the first time ever, and then we've just started this thing, and to have a deadline and to have hey, here is this idea that is completely not thought out or hammered out, but I like where it's going. There's something there. Here's an idea for a chorus and a verse, or here's an idea for, what do you all think? You can kind of leave that in the room, and then it forces that next time, because that's what we're kind of doing with this thing right now. We're making ourselves force each other to think about what you're doing, so you do finish it. You do have to be cognizant that you're doing it for a reason, and there's a purpose to why you have that idea and why it's snuck inside your head, and those things. You got to grab them when you can, but when you can't let them completely slip away. And I think we all too often do that. I know I've done that for years. We've all probably have 50 songs that are done that just, you're like your first one. That'll never, nobody will hear that.
Neil has like 500. He says 50. It's like 5. Seen his like notebooks.
Well, but still, you know what I'm saying. It's just you get to a point where you go, these are all trash, and you can trash yourself regardless, even if you have a good first idea or a hook or this or that. But finding that point where you force yourself to be uncomfortable and get it out there and get those things in front of people that you think will help you and respect you and you respect, and friends, different musicians. There's something to it, sparking that idea too. I think it makes the idea better in the long run. And I'm just learning that. Brent knows that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get a sip.
Same here. Parched.
I don't know, man. You want to play us another song?
Let's do it.
All right, what are you going to play us?
This one's called Wandering Heart. I think this is the first song that I wrote that I thought was good. And I just changed like 5 words yesterday that like really made it click.
Ooh.
It was a really cool moment.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna
That's
play the
awesome.
version for you.
I was a child when I learned your name. And I fell in love and it never was the same. I spent those years trying to believe. I found my truth and it's all that I'll ever need. But now I need you to guide when I'm lost on a road I don't know. Love, help me choose fire from illusions of smoke. Worshipping you, but losing my way in the dark. Love, I need you to guide my wandering heart. I turn my back over again, but I can't find the feeling of innocence. 'Cause I can't fall more than I already have. 'Cause I'm a sinner and I'll always carry this mask. But now I need you to guide when I'm lost on a road I don't know. Love, help me choose fire from illusions of smoke. I'm worshiping you, but losing my way in the dark. Love, I need you to guide my wandering heart. Now I need you to guide when I'm lost on a road I don't know. Love, help me choose fire from illusions of smoke. I'm worshiping you, but losing my way in the dark. Love, I need you to guide my wandering heart. Lord, I need you to guide my wandering heart.
Wow.
Ooh, that's some heaviness.
That was a special damn moment that just happened.
You guys.
That was awesome.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that was a heavy song.
Yeah.
And I've listened. That was the one I was listening to, or one of the couple that I listened to, where I went, "There's definitely a Christian or religious background in Ben."
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. That song initially, like when I wrote it, I was in the place where I was like, I had just broken up with somebody, and I was like thinking about.
How old were you? Sorry.
I think at this point I can't remember if I was 19 or I was 20. I think I was 20. And I was like kind of thinking about like my relationship with God. It is a religious song. I don't want to like shy away from that at all. It was like my relationship with God and how you can let other things kind of like take that place, or whether you're religious or not, like kind of just thinking about like what it is that's actually ruling your life. And so it's interesting in that chorus, I say, "Love, I need you to guide my wandering heart." Initially was Lord, but I was kind of thinking about it yesterday, and I was actually talking about it with Drew. I was like, this song is all about kind of like figuring out what is ruling your life. So kind of me saying Lord is like kind of forcing that, when really it's like, it's kind of asking that question every time like I'm singing it. So it's kind of like a good reminder. You know what I mean?
Huh. Yeah, it's a killer tune. Man.
Yeah, very cool. Line that stood out with me was always, or I'm a sinner, but I'll always carry this mask. Or what?
Yeah.
What is?
No, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Will you talk about that? Like what, as far as what the mask was and what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say, kind of that mask being like, what is that thing that's like, so you have your authentic self, and that's obviously not what the mask is. The mask more so is that thing that's kind of like replacing like what your heart's actually like reaching out for. So for me, and kind of why I brought up that the girl earlier was like, for a while, she was kind of like that thing that I kind of like put over everything else. And that in a way was like my mask and not really something that I actually wanted to pursue. And yeah, kind of like sin just representing like straying away from the path that I actually want to be on. Not necessarily like being with her was a sin, but it's just like that like human nature per se to like go off of the path that like is actually better for me, I guess.
Cool. Awesome.
Huh. Yeah. Even deeper than you think it is.
Yeah. Legit. Man.
What'd you think of it?
Love that. Well, no, I wasn't sure, but I mean, it's as far as, it can mean a lot of things.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So then that's yeah. I was wondering what was happening in your life at that time, or at that time in your life.
So when the first song was kind of about, really, I mean, kind of about exploring playing music out live and doing the grind. I wrote the grind. I mean, it's about the grind and really getting to do that, and kind of even in mentioning that the life, that type of life, or that, So is there as you play and you're playing these shows and you're in bars and you're in places where alcohol is served, and does that conflict with your upbringing? I mean, is there a guilt level, or because you mentioned sin, being a sinner and doing something that your heart desires, and it just, is that part of it? Do you feel like playing music and being able to get out in those environments and express yourself is a struggle for you in some way? Do you feel it goes
That's a
against
really good
something?
question. I would say it definitely has. It's been like a recalibration of kind of like where I want to land. So like I really feel like for all people that have religion play a role in their life, there's a certain way that you fit into the world without really letting it kind of like drive you a little crazy, I guess. But for me, it was kind of just figuring out where that was. I started out from a place where I had such a strong desire to. I actually wrote that first song before I'd ever played really in front of people at all. And it was just like about that desire to go do that. And I was like, should I do that? Should I even want to do that? Is that something that's like inherently like selfish and showboaty or like whatever it is? So it was really kind of overall my relationship with playing out and being around people that have all walks of life, like alcohol served, whatever. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've kind of like, to a certain extent, like become very comfortable in that environment, and it's a place that, you know, I have a lot of fun, and it's not bad for me, you know. It's just learning.
Hey man,
know?
he said Catholic. They drink
Oh,
all
yeah,
the time.
man, for sure.
Yeah, but they also have guilt all the time. So,
Does anyone not have guilt? Like, coming.
Amen.
serial killers and
real question.
sociopaths.
Sociopaths though.
Yeah, for sure. But no, man, you know, it's just, I think it just is very present in that crossover sometimes of trying to, I don't know, I guess life is all about defining who you are and the redefinition of what your upbringing was and your thoughts and the things that you were, you know, brought up with. And then once you get a little bit older, you got to, you know, kind of redefine that into what it means to you, or if it means exactly what it did then. So,
For sure,
you know, maybe part of that initial getting the foot out makes it feel like that, and is, you know, shows in what you were writing at the time.
absolutely.
Do you still has like your last song that you wrote? Is it more like that, or is it evolved into? Are you evolving into a different type of songwriter?
Yeah, so I would say those are the first, probably in the first batch of 100 songs that I wrote, where those two songs came from that. And it's definitely evolved more into a. I'm having a lot of fun with it now. I think initially I just had to get a lot out of my system,
Yeah.
and I do want to say, like, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky to be raised the way I was raised and whatnot.
Cool.
I just think no matter who raises you or how well they do, I just think there's like a point where you have to enter the world and kind of like figure out your place. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like, no matter who you are. So it's like, for me, like, those songs were written at a time that I was like a junior in college, sophomore in college, like really trying to figure out where I fit. Because again, I'm who I am. I went to Western Kentucky University, which has a very diverse group of people with different morals, different beliefs, like whatever it is. I didn't go to like a Catholic school, which would have been very comfortable for me, but that's not what I did. And so it was just a period of like figuring out like where I fit into all of it.
Yeah.
It was great. It was really great. But as you can kind of see and hear in the songs, it's like, it was a very conflicting like time. You know what I mean?
Dude, I love songwriting in that time frame in life. You know, I wish that everybody in that age took time to write stuff down, because it's such an interesting period in the mind of people in general. You know, because you really are kind of, especially junior, sophomore, junior, senior year, you're making life decisions and figuring out who you are, where you're getting ready to be, because, you know, at that point, mom and dad love you, but, you know, it's time for you to get a job and grow up and do the things you're supposed to do. You know, there's time limits. So, you know, yeah, I love that. That's a crazy period in life, I think, you know.
Legit.
Yeah.
My brother's a hilltopper.
There you go.
Yeah.
My dad was a hilltopper.
What year?
Word. Right.
What year was your brother?
He would have graduated in...
Is he older or younger?
Older than
Okay.
me, and I'm a good amount older than you. I think he graduated in 2006.
Gotcha.
Maybe 7.
Back in the
Pops on
day,
time.
Back in the day.
my dad was in like 1970 something,
Right on.
but he did it. Good job, Dad. Proud of you. All right, man. So I've got to go to the back of the book
All right.
because
To the bullpen.
here we go. The 3 questions that Brad demands. Haha. This is called Brad's Still Here. The questions for Brad. All right, Ben. Number 1. What is something non-musical about yourself that people would like to know?
Yeah, I would say I was kind of thinking about this a lot, and I didn't really know what to say, but I was like, there's a common theme in my life that I like gravitate towards competitive things. I don't let it like get out of hand, but I just really enjoy like
Kicking people's
like
ass.
basketball. And that's sometimes. I mean, it could be anything from like playing basketball to a video game, or my little brother's been really into chess lately, so I like try to beat him. And I was doing really great until recently when you figure out like how to open or something. I'm like, apparently that's what real chess players do. But anyways,
Oh no.
it doesn't matter what it is. I'm just super competitive.
Yeah.
Like when I'm in it, I can kind of like put it away, but like I really enjoy that like scenario.
A victory is a fun time.
Yeah.
When you win something, whether it's trivia.
But sometimes I feel bad. Like if I win,
Not if money's involved, man. Like NCAA bracket.
Yeah.
Be
Oh
competitive.
yeah.
All right, tell us about a nightmare gig or something embarrassing that happened to you on stage.
so many. No, it really. I've been pretty lucky for the most part, I would say. So I wanted to do a cover of Ed Sheeran's "Wayfaring Stranger," which is not his song, obviously, but he does his version of it where he kind of like loops up his voice. So I use a loop pedal sometimes, and I was playing at this biker bar in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I guess you guys might know Spillway. Have you heard of Spillway before?
Never went there.
Maybe a long time ago.
Right.
Been there for a long time.
Yeah,
Brother
yeah.
probably
I
knows.
think
Sounds
Chris
familiar.
Stapleton played there when he was not Chris Stapleton.
Oh
Which is
wow.
wild. But anyways, yeah, I played there, and I think I'm the only person that's ever played anything but country music there. So it was I think everything went really well except for this song. It's not even that. I think it would, if I had done it well, it would have been fine. But it was just like when you start looping a song, and it doesn't go well, you can either stop it or try to like go all the way through. And I decided to go all the way through. And I think the timing was a little bit off. It was a little bit too fast, or it was a little bit too slow. I can't really remember, but it was terrible. And by the end of it, the guy I was splitting the time with came up and he was like, "Yeah, like I really think what you do on the loop pedal is cool, but like please don't do that again." And I knew it. I knew that was coming.
At least he asked nicely. At least he said please.
Yeah. And he said it laughing, so it's
Right.
he knew that I knew.
Yeah.
All right, so last local artist or local band that you listen to.
Yeah, I'll give you two. Yesterday I was talking with Drew Crawley and I was listening to some of his music, and he has a song called "When the Sun Comes Out" that I really love. I think everyone should go listen to that. I think the production is really great on it. The songwriting's really great, top tier. And Kevin Niehoff released a song called "Why Can't I Get Over You" last Friday. That's been stuck in my head on and off all week, and I think it's really great. So yeah, those two.
Right on.
In the songwriting group.
Yeah.
Hey,
Both of them's.
bam.
We got two of them.
two for two.
That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't. I can't remember the name of the song. I listened to one of Drew's the other day, but I just was checking out Kevin's. He's put out two in like the last 5 weeks. or
Slow
something.
down, man.
They're both recording with the same. I don't know if they're fully recording, but they have they're collaborating with a guy named Lorenzo out of Nashville, who's really phenomenal as well.
Cool.
I love him in the Ice Cube song. Sitting on Benzo.
I gotta say a funny story real quick about, because you mentioned Looper, and this was kind of a nightmare situation on the stage. Well, it wasn't on a stage.
It can go so wrong.
This was in the corner of place on 4th Street, Guy Fieri's Smokehouse, and I used to do gigs. It's on, typical bar gig and whatnot. They had like a good happy hour a lot of time, great food. But before the state fair, Sheila E., who, do you know that she was Prince's drummer, female
Sheila
drummer,
E.
like
Yeah.
crazy,
She's awesome.
crazy, great musician, and she was in there because she was playing the state fair, and one of the servers walked in and was like, "You know any Sheila E. songs?" And I was like, "No, why?" And he's like, "She's here," and I was like, "I know some Prince." So I usually play Kiss, and I loop like the rhythm and whatnot, and I was like so pumped because I played all the time. I was like pumped to like kill it. And I completely messed up the rhythm and just like, I was like, no. out of all gigs, like the whole thing. Anyway, I stopped the loop like a little too early or late or something, got thrown off, and
It sticks with you.
it does.
It kind of keeps you up sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like with a loop, there's a potential because there's so much setup, and when you're nervous, when there's a lot of setup for like looping something, there's just so many opportunities for you to like miss.
You gotta
like,
be laser
something.
focused in that
Right.
moment. It's
Right.
like, no, you gotta
nerves
clear
of
the-
steel.
It's
Yeah.
hard, man.
Yeah.
I've tried a little bit, and I'm like, man, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Which one do you use? What pedal do you use?
The Boss RC30.
That's what I use. Oh, okay.
The
You
what?
probably use the RC. I would assume the RC3.
RC
which has
one.
one channel.
No, I use the one that has 2 channels.
I got one.
You may have a newer one. What does the physical pedal look like? Is it a knob
Red. There's
or is it a pedal like a
Pedal.
Oh wait,
pedal
does
with
yours
one
have?
knob.
Oh.
The RC1
but
or
2
2.
inputs on each side, so you can do, but it loops the same thing on the input. You can't like do different ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mine has like 2 physical pedals.
Okay.
It's older. Mine is older, so that you might have like a newer model. They had one version, which is the one I have, and then they've had 2 versions since then. So you might have one of the other ones.
Gotcha.
I have the Boss RC1 with the little grippy thing on it, so when you throw it, it goes farther. Hate that thing. Hate that thing, man.
I love that.
Hate that thing.
It's got seams on it. Like,
I hate that thing.
That's hilarious.
Threw my shoulder off my body, getting that thing away from me before. Oh. All right, man. You want to play us another one?
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't want to try again after the hell she put me through. My life has been a broken record to my dance in a burning room. I've been needing different chemicals than the ones inside my head. All it took was a look from you, and my heart, it did the rest. You got me now. I don't know if that's what you wanted. You locked me down without even knowing my name. I don't know if it's right or wrong, 'cause with you they're one in the same. Now my heart is gone. In a split second you took it away. In a split second you took it away. I've been looking for something different. Thanks to you I can see what I'm missing. I've been running without a mission, singing blues without any rhythm. I've been needing different chemicals than the ones inside my head. All it took was a look from you, and my heart, it did the rest. You got me now. I don't know if that's what you wanted. You locked me down without even knowing my name. I don't know if it's right or wrong, 'cause with you they're one in the same. Now my heart is gone. In a split second you took it away. In a split second you took it away. Tore through my disguise, tore through my alibi, tore through my disguise, tore through my alibi, tore through my disguise, tore through my alibi, tore through my disguise, tore through my alibi. Got me now. I don't know if that's what you wanted. You locked me down without even knowing my name. I don't know if it's right or wrong, 'cause with you they're one in the same. Now my heart is gone. In a split second you took it away. In a split second you took it away.
Beautiful, man.
Where'd y'all get this rug? I've been looking for a rug lately.
Ollie's Bargain Outlet.
Oh.
I made that up. I have no idea.
Sounds like a place to get a rug for cheap. They're expensive. I didn't expect that.
There's a great on Millwood. You know where Mom's Music is?
Yeah.
Well,
That's,
Millwood.
that's where I live, pretty much.
Oh, so
yeah.
have you been to the Antique Mall?
I have not.
Oh man, they got a whole bunch of rugs. There's a bunch of like expensive Persian rugs and stuff, but there's a ton that are, you know, pre-owned. But actually, some of them might not be. But they got.
I'm not scared of that.
They got a literally like an entire level of them in one area. Yeah, it's I live right over there too, which is cool.
really?
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Now or after?
No, we'll wait.
You don't want to give
We got batteries
addresses?
running and shit.
Let's give some addresses out real quick.
I have no furniture. Like I have,
Oh, shit,
I have
really?
a 2-bedroom and I have like no furniture.
You
so
just
it's, like,
moved in?
Just bouncing. Yeah, I moved in a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
it's
okay.
just
We know a
bouncing
guy
everywhere.
that sells furniture for cheap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can get your entire
share that
house done for
contact
about
info.
$107.
Yeah, really, really.
Okay.
We'll hook
bedrooms?
you up.
Sweet.
There's 3 bedrooms, like 112.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I need to make some panels too. 'Cause I'd like to record in there, but there's way too much sound
Yeah.
bouncing around. So.
Especially with
I'm gonna get it
zero
sorted.
furniture.
Yeah. It's
funny. My mind just went to, oh man, I know a buddy who was looking for a place and didn't know if he needed a roommate or not. But I like thought about, I was like, oh no, he'd be a terrible roommate. So I'm not even gonna refer him. Great guy. He's an awful roommate. I've experienced it. So
Is he a musician? Because that's a key thing.
no, he's
So you can understand each other being loud.
he's just often a moron. Great guy. But anyways, yeah.
Amen. We all know those people.
Or are that person.
Yeah.
So, before we read your all your creds and stuff, man, it's been kind of a crazy week in Louisville. You know, I mean, guns, dude. I mean, I don't like talking politics or any of that stuff generally, but it hits close to home these days, and it sucks. You know, you're playing this weekend at a pretty daggone big venue, and you know, when your friends start to play at stuff like that, like Mercury Ballroom, I mean, at what point do you gotta not? Can you not worry? You know, so now it's just like, you know, I got kids that practice shooter drills instead of tornado drills like I did growing up. It's just, what a weird world we live in these days.
Yeah, man.
I hate to have social commentary.
No, you're good. Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, Thunder over Louisville's coming up.
Oh, I
I've kind of
thought,
had the same thoughts, and it's like, it is really tough.
Derby. I mean, stuff, how do you...
Right. I'm running in a
It's
half.
like Kentucky's
I'm running in a
biggest
half
week.
marathon in like a month and a half. I'm like, even that, I'm like,
Well, there's been issues with that stuff before. I mean, there's been issues with everything. It's just, I guess you live your life, but at the same point in time, when it was right, we've all been down there. We've all played gigs down there. We've all
Yeah.
been on that street corner playing.
Live 2.5 miles from there. Like, yeah, you're right down there too. Yeah.
You
everyone
know?
needs to be careful and make their own decisions. I just feel like for me personally, like the last thing I want to do is like live in fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, it's a case by case basis. You really have to use your best judgment for like the situations you're putting yourself in. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's not like I have any answers by any means. It's just one of those things. You go, what in the world?
Mental health issues, man.
So, today's my off day, so I was at the house and I was in the garage just, I don't know, tinkering like I always do, trying to get something running or whatever. And I was listening to Marvin Gaye's Greatest Hits, and it was just, dude, talk about like a social commentary. It's almost very poignant to the world today because it's talking about guns and it's talking about the way we treat each other. And, you know, and it did remind me that music is such a healing and expressive thing. You know, we're all sinners. We can all write about it, and it's a healing thing, and we're all able to really say things in a song that maybe you wouldn't do in other forms or whatever. And I have no point whatsoever, but it's just, man,
It's a good outlet, man.
It is.
It is
It's
a very
great.
good outlet, emotional outlet, and to think about things and a healthy outlet.
yeah.
Yeah, because also just selfishly, it's one of those things where you can express your opinion and no one can talk back to you. It's like you get that song written, you put that out and say whatever. It's like, here's how I feel. Like you can listen to it or not. But yeah, man, it's been a heavy week.
Heavy week.
Yeah.
The power of songwriting is a great outlet. You know, you all are right. And I don't know, man. I would just encourage anybody if people are still listening to this thing and write, do something, go talk to somebody, do something to help. It's nuts to think that it can happen again so quick, and I'm sure it will. There's probably been 3 more since yesterday in other places that we don't know about, and it's just sad. So I don't know.
It's good that it's being talked about though. Like at least you know, as far as like seeing what the difference has been, some silver lining, like seeing what the difference has been as far as like awareness of mental health, because we were talking about this the other day. I didn't understand it for a long time until I started like actually going through it, you know, a few years ago. And I like seeing, you know, there's guys that are pro athletes, you know, I saw like anyways, it's being discussed way more. So I do feel like it is you know, there's still hope for that. But as far as like the gun things go, that's a voting thing. You get out there and
rock the vote, homie. Mark, I drove through Kansas, and I got to tell you what, Kansas sucks.
the most boring drive ever.
Hey, man.
Dude.
Just flat and ugly.
I got stuck in Kansas
Hey,
in the
dude,
middle of the night coming back from
Kansas-
Colorado on a bus when I went.
Kansas is awful. Kansas, dude. I was in that RV, and there was like 7,000 mile an hour crosswinds. I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna kill my family. It was awful. I hate Kansas. I don't want to fly over Kansas. I want to fly around Kansas. I hate Kansas. Can't believe somebody would name their state Arkansas. Arkansas is stupid. And Kansas City knew that Kansas was so dumb that it went to Missouri. The good part went to Missouri. That's where the good Kansas City is. Because Kansas sucks.
You just taught me so much about Kansas.
Here, you want to learn the number one lesson about Kansas?
Yeah.
Don't go to Kansas. Don't ever. If you go to 49 states and the last one's Kansas, just consider yourself. You've seen everything in this
Is it
country.
just like flat and boring? Is that what you're saying? Because I've been to Oklahoma.
It's flat. It's boring. It sucks. It's stuck in time. There's nothing to like look at. It's awful. They love like, which this is all fine. I don't care about politics.
Shout out to the Kansas listeners.
But there are two things they love, and rural Kansas, which is all of Kansas, listeners, listen. There's two things that they love along the I-70 corridor. It's pictures of Jesus and semis with Trump painted on it.
Like Jesus on billboards.
Jesus on billboards, and then Trump semis in fields. They're not moving. These are in fields painted. The paint job's pretty awesome. But
people go hard when they're dedicated.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's
Jesus and Trump.
white Jesus, white Trump. That's exactly what it is. It's crazy. It's I mean, not crazy. The wind was crazy, and there were wildfires. It seemed like, you know, there was ever a place to be on fire.
That must have been crazy driving through the night. Could you see him?
Yeah, I got video. I'll
Nice.
put them in right here. It was pretty awesome.
Do you guys do that?
I could actually.
Do
it,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I could do that. I'll do it.
That'd be awesome.
We're going,
We're gonna need to
whoa,
raise
this is
that.
crazy. It's me. And and I
yourself.
actually pay to do this. I lose money. It's the best part about this thing.
That means you love it. You know?
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
it's joy. I do love it. All right, man. So to everybody that wants to find you, listeners, followers, where can they find you? Where can they find your music? Where are you going to be playing? Got anything coming up? Tell us all about yourself and where to go.
Yeah, so I'm trying to play as many gigs as I can. I think the best way to keep up is following me on Instagram. My Instagram is Bernhard, BERNHARD _ at the end of it. And yeah, just keep up with me on there. I'm working as hard as I can to get out some new music on YouTube and Spotify, but there's a link for all of that in my Instagram, so that's like the hub. So please just give me a follow on there and you'll be up to date.
All right, you got one more for us?
I do.
All right, what is it going to be?
This song is called Signal Flares.
Signal flare.
And the last one was called Split Second, by the way.
Split second. All right, sweet. Let's hear it.
Night skies and signal flares. Well, I let the embers fall and met you there. 'Cause I thought you felt the same, but that was just a game we used to play. Now you're dancing around the corners of my life. Maybe there's someone else for me to find. Either way, I'm keeping score, wishing I could be a part of yours. Tell me now if waiting for your love is a waste of my time. 'Cause night after night I get wasted on the memory of your eyes. Can't you see the light shining, glistening
on, man.